It's finally over. I want you to sign these and leave.
I understand. I wish I could change things.
The door was still swinging when the truth landed. He stood there with a tired smile, rain on his coat, hope in his eyes. He expected tears, maybe anger. He expected noise. What he met was silence so sharp it stopped his breath. She did not rush him. She did not ask why. She did not ask where he had been. She simply looked at him, calm and steady, and in that quiet moment he knew something was different. Something was over. This was not the homecoming he imagined. She was sitting at the kitchen table, hands folded, posture straight. The room smelled of clean wood and lemon soap. Evening light rested on the walls like a held breath. Outside, cars passed, lives continued. Inside, time slowed. He felt it in his chest. The way her eyes held no fear, no pleading, only resolve. Within the first seconds, the power shifted. She had been the one left behind, the one replaced, the one whispered about. But now, without raising her voice, without a single sharp word, she held the ground beneath them both. He had returned because his affair had collapsed, because promises made in secret had turned hollow, because the thrill that once blinded him had faded, leaving him alone. He came back expecting mercy. What he found was truth. She was not the same woman he had left. She had been a nurse for nearly 2 decades. Long nights, short sleep, hands that had held strangers as they slipped away. She had learned how silence could comfort, and how calm could save lives. Even now, that calm wrapped around her like armor. When he stepped closer, she did not move. The moment stretched. His mouth opened. No words came. He realized he had no ground left to stand on. Her silence spoke first. She had once believed in loud love, in fixing things with effort and tears, in forgiving before healing. That woman no longer lived here. The woman at the table had survived something deeper. Years earlier, when they first met, she had been light and laughter. He had admired her strength then too, but he had mistaken it for something that would always bend back. He never thought it could harden into steel. Her backstory was written in long shifts and quiet grief. She remembered the smell of antiseptic mixed with coffee at dawn, the hum of machines, the weight of hands she could not save. She remembered the night she learned to cry without sound, leaning against cold tile in a hospital bathroom, counting breaths until the ache passed. She had learned how to endure when he began pulling away. She felt it like a slow chill. Fewer calls, late nights explained with work, a distance that crept into bed beside her. She had asked once. He brushed it off. She asked again. He grew annoyed. She stopped asking. She noticed the way he smiled at his phone, the way his voice softened for someone else, the way silence filled their home like fog. Still, she kept going, cooking, working, showing up, because that was who she was. Then came the day the truth broke free, not through shouting, not through a fight, but through a message meant for someone else. A careless moment that revealed months of lies. She read it, standing in the hallway, the walls too close. Her heart too loud, she did not scream. She sat on the floor, and let the weight of it press down until it hurt less. He left that night. Bags packed in a rush, words tangled and thin. He promised space. He promised clarity. He promised to figure things out. She let him go. What followed was the hardest. Season of her life. Friends chose sides without asking. Family whispered advice she did not want. Nights stretched long and empty. She learned the sound of her own breathing in the dark. She learned how quiet a house could be. But she also learned something else. She learned that her worth was not decided by his choices. She returned to work. She ran in the mornings, lungs burning, feet hitting pavement in steady rhythm. She cooked meals just for herself. She sat with her thoughts and did not run from them. Each day, a little more strength returned, while his affair unraveled under the weight of reality. She rebuilt, slowly, carefully, brick by brick. He did not see that part, so when he came back, soaked and unsure, He expected the woman who waited. He did not expect the woman who stood. He tried to speak. Apologies fell from his mouth, heavy and rehearsed. He talked about mistakes, about confusion, about regret. He said he realized what he lost. She listened. Every word. Then she stood, not rushed, not shaking. She moved to the counter and poured a glass of water, the simple act grounding the moment. She took a sip, then looked at him. Her voice, when it came, was steady. You came back because the door closed behind you. Not because you chose me. The words landed clean and final. He flinched. He tried to explain, to soften, to promise change. She did not raise her voice. She told him that love without respect is noise. That trust, once broken, does not return just because it is convenient. That she had spent months learning to stand alone. She would not give that up for comfort. Her silence before those words had done the work. Her calm made them undeniable. Bystanders were not present, but their shadows were. The friends who would hear about this, the family who would ask, the world that would judge. She knew it all. Still, she stood firm. He reached for her hand. She stepped back. There was a moment then, a shift he could feel but not name. The realization that power had changed hands not through anger, but through peace. She told him something he would carry forever. I survived the worst nights without you. I will not rebuild my life around your regret. That sentence held years of pain and growth. He sat down. The chair scraping softly, shoulders slumped. For the first time, he saw her clearly, not as the partner who would absorb his mistakes, but as a person who had outgrown him. The room felt larger now. He asked if there was any chance left. She paused. Not because she was unsure, but because she chose her words carefully. She said that forgiveness is not the same as return, that healing does not mean reopening old wounds, that sometimes love ends not in fire, but in clarity. Her strength was quiet, unmovable. He left again that night. Slower this time, without drama, without promises. The door closed gently. She stood there for a moment, listening to the silence. It did not feel empty anymore. It felt earned. In the days that followed, word spread. Not through gossip, but through quiet admiration. Friends who had doubted her reached out. Family who had worried saw her resolve. She did not explain herself. She did not need to. Her life continued. She planted herbs on the windowsill. She laughed more at work. She slept deeply. The memory of his return became a marker, not a wound. A moment where she chose herself fully. The unexpected power shift had not been loud. There were no raised voices, no dramatic exits. Just a woman standing in her truth, and that was enough. Weeks later, she ran into him at a grocery store. He looked smaller somehow, tired. He nodded. She smiled politely. Nothing more was needed. People often think strength looks like anger, like shouting, like victory speeches, but real strength often looks like silence. It looks like knowing your worth and refusing to bargain with it. Her story spread because it resonated, because so many had been taught to wait to forgive too fast, to shrink for peace. She became a quiet example. One night, sitting alone with a cup of tea, she reflected on the journey. The pain had not vanished, but it no longer controlled her. She had learned that endings can be beginnings, and that dignity can stop someone in their tracks. More than any shout, she had not won by proving him wrong. She had won by choosing herself. The world outside continued, messy and loud. Inside, she carried a calm no one could take. Her silence had been her power. And when the door closed behind him, it opened something greater within her. If this story moved you, share where you were watching from. Tell us what silent strength means to you. Subscribe for more stories that honor quiet courage and unseen battles.